Why am I Pinkie Pie? Chapter 1. Hello? Can anyone hear me? Hello? Um, okay, this is so stupid. I don't even know if this is working. Well, it's worth a try at least. I'm going to just go ahead and assume someone is able to pick this up. These fourth wall breaking powers have to be good for something, right? Assuming they're real, and that I can even use them, that is. Okay, I should probably start from the beginning. Hi, I'm a perfectly normal human person, and for some reason, I'm also Pinkie Pie. Let me explain. Okay, so I can explain. I can't explain. I have no idea how this happened. I was just out shopping one day at the local Target store, getting some light bulbs and garage bags, that kind of thing. I was walking past the home furnishing section idly, thinking about visiting the pink aisle to see if they had any new pony stuff. I glanced in the mirror that was in display, and I froze in shock because I saw a very startling looking and familiar pink pony staring back at me. I blinked, and then there was this weird shifting feeling. When I opened my eyes, I saw my own face staring back at me, but I sure as heck wasn't in Target anymore. I blinked again, and there I was, opening my eyes, and my face was gone, and the mirror once again showed a very confused-looking Pinkie Pie. So, okay, that's incredibly weird, and I'm obviously hallucinating, right? I had ponies on the brain, and now I had some sort of mental breakdown. I've gone loco in the cocoa, and I'm really lying on the floor in the aisle of Target, probably foaming at the mouth and gurgling the My Little Pony theme. But but it sure didn't feel like that. Too many sensations. I could smell the room, kind of a dusty smell with a hint of girly perfumes and such. But also I could smell bakery wafting up from below. Cookies, cupcakes, cakes, and that kind of thing. I could hear muffled voices coming from outside. There was no dreamlike shifting of items that I could see, and I could feel the hardened wood floor beneath my rump. What really freaked me out was the faint taste of frosting in my mouth. I wouldn't have imagined that. I knew! That was something that never would have occurred to me to make up if I'd been hallucinating or having a stroke or whatever. So, unable to process what was happening, I just sat there, and I don't know how long, but I sat there on my unfamiliar pink and fuzzy butt, just staring in the mirror with the wide blue eyes trying to deny that this was happening at all. And then a drop of sweat rolled onto one of those eyes and stung like the dickens. I finally stared, blinking again. It stared, sinking in that this was real. But it could be real, but it was real, but it couldn't be. Have you ever seen one of those old sci-fi shows where they trick the evil android robot killer computer with logic puzzles and that eventually causes their poor electronic brain to explode? That's kind of how I felt, staring at this strange but familiar face in the mirror. Luckily, my brain didn't explode. I didn't faint either, which is what normally would happen when weird things like this happens to characters in stories that I read. Instead, I just went kind of numb and tried to stand up. I had to see if I was actually in Ponyville, because I was definitely in Pinkie's room. I remember it from the show, and this was definitely it. There was even some toothless alligators staring at me enigmatically. Walking on four legs is hard, and I stumbled a little on my way to the window. Not too bad, and I managed to not fall down, but I wouldn't be winning any races soon. I can't begin to tell you how freaky it was. Feeling unfamiliar muscles and bones shifting under my coat. Completely surreal. And walking on hooves? Forget it! I've never felt anything like that. No, it's not like walking on tiptoes, or not exactly. Also, I figured hooves were hard, clunky things and would feel like wearing a really thick boots. But no, I actually felt the wood underneath me. It turns out that the soft part of the hoof, which I found out is called frog, is pretty sensitive, at least on Pinkie's hooves. Oh, and when you put your weight on them, the hooves spread out a little. That was really weird, feeling that. I got the window pushed. I got to the window, I pushed it open, and propped myself awkwardly on the sill. Yep, it was Ponyville, all right. You want to know how I knew? There were multicolored pastel ponies every frickin' where! I looked, talking, laughing, playing. Dang. If you've seen the show, then you know what I'm talking about. The buildings all looked like something out of an old-timey village, mostly white on the outside of the building. Most of them were thatched roofs. The trim was all short and all sorts of pastels, pink being prevalent, but also greens and blues and purples. It was gorgeous. It was nostalgic. It scared the living daylights out of me. I slid back onto my rump with my back to the wall, panting for breath. Dang it. I only wanted to do some shopping, and now I'm in Ponyville and I Pinkie Pie. And I didn't even get my light bulbs, which was the whole reason I went shopping in the first place. And then a small voice in my head. At least you're not Twilight Sparkle. Why is that? I asked the voice in my head. I really like Twilight Sparkle. That's right, voice in my head. Don't you mess with Twilight-licious. But that inner voice wasn't fazed in the least, because Twilight is probably the only one who can figure out what happened and how to get you home, it said reasonably, and darn it if it wasn't right. I sat there for a few minutes, back against the wall, and hind legs splayed out in front of me, thinking about what was going on, what I could say, how many things would probably go wrong when I told Twilight that I was an alien being inside of her friend's body. A weird sucking noise interrupted my concentration, and I glanced down and saw some weird green thing glomped onto my hoof. Gah! I said, which was the most eloquent thing in the world. But it got my point across. I kicked my leg by reflex, and the weird green thing, which obviously was Gummy the toothless alligator, went flying. I gasped, not wanting to hurt the little guy, but he arched gently through the air and landed on Pinkie's bed. I stared at him, concerned, and he stared back, blinking one eye and then the other. I was pretty sure he was fine. Anyway, my new voice caught my attention, so much that I did it again. Gah! Weird. Gah, 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 gah! Everything okay, dearie? A voice asked suddenly. Gah! I replied. I jumped and looked towards the stairs. Coming up the room was Mrs. Cake. She had her head poked out from high enough to look into the room, and was looking at me with a mixture of concern and amusement. Oh, I said. Magnificent, aren't I? I'm just, practicing making noises. I threw a panicked grin at her. She smiled back and then went back downstairs. I'm 110% sure she was thinking something along the lines of, oh, that Pinkie is so random. Anyway, my voice sounded like what you would think, all Andrea Lipman-y like, and high-pitched, a girly voice, which meant, by the way, hip hip hooray that I'm now a girl, or a mare pony.
Oh, good for you.
A pink girl mare pony thing, and oh my freaking god. And okay. Sorry about that. That still happens. Anyway, as upsetting as it is, the loss of genitalia really comes to a distant second when compared to the loss of humanity in general. Trust me on that. I'm pretty sure I don't have to describe what I look like. Or I don't know, maybe I do. I'm under the assumption that if I'm breaking the fourth wall at all, I'm reaching fellow bronies. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe I'm reaching some little girl somewhere who is a fan of the show, in which case, I'm sorry about mentioning genitalia. My bad. Forget I said anything, okay? Mental note. Stop mentioning genitalia in case of kids. Or maybe the people I'm reaching aren't bronies at all. And hopefully you're at least human. If you're aliens that then I really, really hope you're not the abducting, probing kind of aliens. Because honestly, this has been the most upsetting enough day already. Actually, the face-hugging kind would be a lot worse. If you're creepy face-hugging probe aliens, please don't bother trying to help me. I'll be just fine. Ah, a tangent. Sorry about that. I don't know if it's my pinky brain or what, but I seem to go off onto weird tangents all the time now. Where was I? Oh, descriptions. Okay, I'm a pony. Specifically, I'm a pink one. As bright a pink as you can imagine all over my body. My darker pink mane and tail are a tangled mess, thick and poofy. The hair seemed to have a little of its own, a life of its own, sorry. I think I mentioned earlier that my eyes are blue, and they're also huge, big baby blue eyes. They also look so innocent. But that's just so wrong. No way am I innocent enough to deserve those eyes. I'm an adult male human, for goodness sake. I've done naughty stuff with the ladies and everything. Man, I already forgot. I might be reaching kids. Okay, brain, stop thinking about naughty stuff. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. I really hope none of that came across the 4-4. It's a little like trying not to think about elephants, and then all you can think about are elephants, you know. Okay, moving on, and hopefully putting that embarrassing incident behind me. I had seen Pinkie Pie in cartoons, and the cartoons, her body is an uniform color. And that's not really the case in, well, for lack of a better term, let's call this real life, okay? Let's not get bogged down in details. Her coat, my coat, whatever, it only had a uniform pink when looked at it from a distance, but the individual hairs were mostly bright pink, but there were also some different shades of it mixed in, from light to dark pink. There were even some hairs that were almost pure white in there, though not too many. The exception was the cutie mark, which was 3 balloons on each of my hips. Each mark had two balloons and 1 yellow balloon, and the actual hairs are tinted with those colors. It's kind of cool, actually. Also, her hooves are slightly darker shades than the coat. The outer walls of them were hard, like I'd expect, but the bottom of the hooves were real. Okay, weird. Okay. First of all, as a pony, I shouldn't be able to look at the bottom of my hooves, right? Forget about that, okay? Ponies around here can do all sorts of ridiculous things, and being able to look at the bottom of their hooves are amongst the least craziest of things I've seen that I've got here. I went off on a tangent again. Sorry. Anyway, there's a part behind the outer wall of the that's kind of spongy and weird, and that's called the frog, which is kind of like a triangle of a soft pink, of course, tissue. I don't know if it's a magical pony thing or not, because I can't imagine horses from my world having soft tissue like that on their hooves. But that's what pinkies are like. Enough with the description. If you've ever seen a show, then that's enough to know that I'm a magical pink pony in the enchanted land full of other magical ponies. The funny thing, I'm laughing, is that I've always wanted to come here. I just, wanted to come here in my own actual body. But
your brother?
Not in Pinkie Pie's body. So deciding to listen to that one voice in my head, I thought it was high time for me to find Twilight Sparkle. Like I needed a reason. She's my favorite pony, after all. Still, if anyone, or any pony, as they say it here, could figure out what's going on with me, I'd figure that it would be the super brainy, nerdalicious, magical prodigy who lives in a library inside a tree, Twilight Sparkle. Sorry, I had the SpongeBob SquarePants theme in my head there. Oh God, I think Pinkie's brain is infecting with me with the crazies. Whew. Okay, I'm going to have to lie down for a while, and I'll be back to tell you more about the story soon, once the crazies have died down a little bit.